good morning. As Kaylee mentioned, thank you very much, and thank you for everyone that's joined in this session. I'm just going to take you through my PowerPoint, which is basically talking about the future of networking in data centers from Phoenix Contact. So it's a bit the agenda. So obviously we're going to introduce who Phoenix Contact are, a little bit about us and our organization, relevant application areas, our portfolio that actually supports a lot of you guys who are data center operators, basically the portfolio that we provide in the industry. And within that, basically, we have kind of three pillars. So we're going to delve a little bit deeper into those three pillars, which are control, power reliability, which is a massive importance for the data centers, keeping that uptime up there, and then obviously system connectivity as well. So a bit about who Phoenix Contact, for those who weren't aware about us, we're basically a market leader in industrial connection and automation technology. So we're very much a innovative organization. We're obviously headquartered in Germany, but we have subsidiaries dotted around the globe. We're a privately held organization and have been since 1923, but that provides us kind of where we see the future of our society, and obviously data centers in everything that we're talking about plays what we think will be a vital part. And equally, obviously, the previous presentations just show from this morning about legislation, government legislation, directives, and an AI playing an important part of that. We as Phoenix Contact believe that the future is becoming an all-electric society as well. So data centers will equally play an important part for that for us. The markets that we actually operate in span right across all sorts of industries. As I say, obviously, this one is regarding infrastructure. So I operate in that for the UK market. And some of the trending topics of data centers today, you've heard it from the previous PowerPoint. So one of them is, of course, sustainability. And then the other one is obviously about connectivity as well. So how we actually get connected to data center, aspects and environments on that. And obviously data centers, I think, is becoming much more modular based in terms of its operation aspect as well as data centers grow. So particular relevant application areas: cooling infrastructure, control center for the offices in the data center, as well as the data halls itself, the server room and energy distribution of that. So that's obviously from the power distribution units, or the PDUs that go down to the server racks. The fire alarm systems is equally important. So making sure that we have a right type of suppression system for the data center. Low voltage switch gear, so switch panels, video surveillance for security, and emergency power supply. So for example, the batteries, emergency power supply from the gen sets as well. And then obviously we're looking at and talking about renewables and how that plays a future for our industry as well. So obviously in this case, we've got the solar PV panels on the rooftop. So where do Phoenix Contact fit within that sort of requirements for data centers going forward? Well, we have a range of power and protect solutions. So from everything from power supply, UPS battery backup, surge protection, and so on. Measuring, so everything what we're talking about is all of the previous presentations about that legislation. How does that play an important part for your data? So in monitoring that, so for measure. Control is equally important, making sure that we have that uptime, making sure the system availability is constant, making sure the types of solutions to connect into the panels, for example, so the terminal blocks, DC distribution boards, heavy con, so which is a heavy duty connectors into a lot of the PDUs and cabinets is equally important. Switching from relay to plug-in system tests. So that's really kind of relay based into the control panel. And then obviously everything that goes around that. So the labeling, the marking, we as Phoenix Contact have that wide breadth of supply and that scope of supply to help support your data centers. So as I said earlier, talking about those three pillars, control being one of them. So we have a very unique controller that is called the ILC 2050 BI controller. It's a controller that's based on the Niagara framework. So for those of you who might be aware about Niagara framework, it's very much a software platform that sits onto our hardware, and our hardware being this ILC 2050 BI controller. What are the benefits about it from a control aspect for your data centers? Well, one of them is the main key point is 63 IO modules can be connected to one single controller. So it makes a very unique controller to help control your data center, demanding high outputs and inputs. So dense, high number of outputs, for example. It can fit up to 63 modules. So that could be 32 channel input we do as a module times by 63. So it provides a very scalable solution for your data center in terms of control. It's a BMS system, so it's very much the Niagara BMS system, and it also fits in a nice and neat 80mm wide footprint as a starting point from the controller. And then the modules itself are only about 12mm per module. We do offer extremely flexible protocol solutions, so MBus for all of those metering requirements to bring in those meters so that you can run analytics. So, for example, the AI presentation we heard earlier, the legislation from this morning's presentation, we've got a whole breadth of supply that we can support for that type of requirement. And it's the system availability, so scalable IO solutions. The key factor being the PLC grade hardware. That's really quite powerful, what data center operators and engineers are looking for. This here is a present PowerPoint slide, sorry, that shows you about the system's kind of architecture that it could connect to. So you've got your Niagara supervisor, so you're at the actual control level, looking and monitoring that, analyzing that data from multiple systems and into one single networked platform. So that's the key point. We do a range of solutions for that, whether it be central IO solutions. So, for example, the top particular system with the controller and the IO modules. We also do remote IO options as well. So whether that be Modbus TCP or RTU. So you can see here that what's really good about the remote bus couplers is that you can daisy chain as well per data hall, however design you make up. For example, you can actually connect and network up the controller up to the remote IO stations. So this is just a brief summary. I'm not going to rattle it all off, but basically it gives you an idea. So the key point is being able to connect up to 2,000 channels on one single controller. What does that mean for a data center application? Well, let me tell you, basically one of them is the scalability point. So no matter how high or how low your requirements are for that data hall of yours, for example, the connecting up those networked controllers, it will meet that requirement every single time. And a lot of data center applications that we've currently installed, you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of IO points, for example, and this controller can meet that type of requirement, even as low as 50 points if you need that. It's flexible licensing model because of it being the Niagara framework. It's got a really flexible license model so that you can build as you go up in terms of your software points for licensing. Is a cost saving as well, because already you can see there's 4 Ethernet ports on this controller. So there's an integrated Ethernet switch that offers things like the rapid spanning tree protocol for media redundancy. And it also means that you don't have to use any other gateways for other types of field interfaces coming into this controller, because it supports all types of those interfaces. The second pillar is talking about power reliability. So this is our solution for power reliability, a whole range of a family of power supplies, including just on the right-hand side, power supplies with circuit breaker protection as well. Its family is called a Trio Power. So there's a couple of videos. Hopefully you guys can see that now. So I will be playing that in a bit. So this is a integrated circuit breaker that shows you about easily handling and space saving. So it provides up to 70% of installation time and saving and effort. In easy commissioning process, there's a space saving because there's a circuit breaker functionality within it. There's a flexible types of requirements that we meet. So for example, 3-phase up to 40 amps, including a wide range of power voltage inputs as well. High availability due to self-monitoring, so it will constantly monitor what the system is doing and then report back if it needs to for a master controller. The smart diagnostics also allows collective and easy analysis information. So for example, you've got key indicators that light up that tell you what's actually happening with the circuit. And then there is also an IO link communication interface that you can interface back to a main PLC controller or let's say a BMS controller, for example. So this is a video that's going to show you about the third pillar, which is the system connectivity.
Hello, welcome to our exhibition wall for optical fiber-based data connectors. On the left side of the wall, we see our new products for the device connection. The portfolio includes PCB connectors, various cage variants, and the transceiver modules. The SFP and SFP Plus modules offer data rates up to 10 gigabits per second. They are designed for multi-mode and single-mode applications and for extended or industrial temperature ranges. In addition to the active device connection, our portfolio also includes the necessary passive components for a structured cabling. On the right side of the wall, we see our FDX20 splice boxes for DIN-rail mounting, which are available with a variety of connection variants and fiber types for multi-mode and single-mode. The FDX20 splice boxes enable particularly comfortable splicing thanks to an optimized pigtail tray. In addition, we offer an extensive range of cables and patch cables in various variants with different connector types LC, SC, and ST for multi-mode and single mode. And we offer also DIN-rail adapters for easy and space-saving cabling. An extensive connector program for different interfaces and fiber types completes the portfolio for fiber-based data connectors. Thank you for watching this video. We are happy to answer any questions you may have. Please use our contact function for this.
So that's obviously shows you the scope of sort of our supply for connectivity in your kind of control panels, and especially when it's all networked. So the splice boxes is growing interest, especially within the data center industry. The next video will actually show you a little bit more about just one of those in particular ones, which is a 19-inch rack, and then I'll tell you some of the key benefits about it as well.
For real-time data transmission in intelligent power grids, use M17 MPO series FO data connectors and distributor boxes. Thanks to high-quality fiber optics providing optimized return loss, you'll benefit from stable bandwidths over long transmission distances. The compact M17 FO data connectors allow for up to 72 FO front connections per one single rack unit. The pre-assembled components are robust, allow for easy installation without additional tools, and prevent plugging them in with a wrong orientation.
So again, you can see just how the flexibility of our solutions can meet your kind of requirements in those data centers. And in that previous video, basically, it's quite unique to show up to that 70 amount of connections for fiber. This particular one also is gotten a lot of interest. So we exhibit at the Data Center World as well. In this particular product, it's called the FDX20 series. There's a key benefits behind this. So you can see there's a lot of space saving. For example, because of the compact design for mounting it onto a rail, there's a flexibility during the installation. So we have actual types of adapters that allow it to be DIN rail mounted. So there's an actual adapter that allows you to mount it sideways as well as front facing into those type of panels. Equally, we do offer a wide range of environment factors as well. So obviously, depending on where this is installed, it will meet those type of temperature requirements. There's a maximum security against EMC and ESD influences. There's a separate splice tray that allows you to easily connect and pull out those pigtails. And then there's also the cable gland that allows the clamping range from the 6 to 12 mil. There's a variant, it's pre-assembled for fusion splicing, reduce the assembly time in the field as well. So you can see this is quite a unique kind of range of solutions for connectivity in your data centers. This is the one that we were talking about in the video. So this is a 19-inch rack. It's called the FDX20. Again, you can see the types of industries, so data center being one of that. And we have all different types of connectors, whether they're multi-mode or single mode connectors as well. We do quite a wide range of those types of solutions for your data halls. And there's just about case studies that shows you about the pillar of control. So we have multiple data centers and data center operators that actually uses our Niagara-based controller. Some of the pains that you might experience, so the downtime and availability, the panel sizing are constantly increasing with the number of requirements and the connectivity you're using. Integrating multiple gateways, for example, Ethernet switches for IP static routing, and communication over different protocols wasn't exactly harmonious. And there's also multiple vendor products. So there's no common part, no common factor that was on offer when they were using different multiple vendors. And the key thing is the benefits to using the Phoenix controller was obviously because of it being Niagara. Niagara is an open framework, so it allows to use multiple interface for monitoring control, different bespoke cooling systems in the data center becoming self-sustainable. The hyperscale data centers is very unique for this as a solution. This particular customer actually produced a better PUE output, so 1.67 to 1.05. So that helped them achieve getting that down to that sort of level. And obviously because we're a manufacturer of industrial components, we are also offered this particular project, our UPS solutions, to offer for that power reliability in those data halls. The controller itself do offer, as I showed you before, different types of bus coupler, both being RTU and TCP. And again, you can connect up to another 63 IO modules on even those remote bus couplers. That offers a very, very unique PowerPoint. Is an introduced stock complication. So you're not having to have multiple different parts. The IO modules fit, whether if it's directly connected to that BMS controller or if you're using it as a remote bus coupler as well. It's the same module that you're using. So there's no multiple parts. There's a common part that's used for both types of designs. And of course, reducing that downtime as well. This is actually one of our kind of projects that we worked with Telefonica in Germany. So this is just a comment that we had from Oliver that shows you about the standing partnership that we've made and developed. So we use Phoenix Contact. This particular was in field of lightning and surge protection with Phoenix Contact. And just to summarize here, basically, we have around 60,000 products for those data center industry for your market. And we are a Niagara partner, so it's a software platform, again, used for the building automation and, of course, data centers. And we can engage with a range of solutions for your kind of requirements. Seamless IO integration. So one of the key points that the controller can provide is things like media redundancy, as well as controller redundancy. And the data center is becoming more modular in its design. So there's a lot more data centers where they want to become more modular so that they can bring up and install, offering those types of, sort of bringing that downtime, minimizing that downtime and improving the data center efficiency for the operators. And hopefully I've just about hit my time, but I'll take any questions if there is.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thanks so much for that, Deepan. Before we all scurry off to break, I'm just going to move over to questions quickly, if that's okay. So the first question, most important to us is sustainability, and that's why we've been looking at alternative solutions. I didn't hear much about the sustainability benefits of your solutions. Are you able to share more details on that?
Yeah, of course. So Phoenix Contact are very, very a key partner for helping, like the presentations that we had earlier about ISG and sustainability. So with one of our key solutions for sustainability that we provide is obviously those type of ISG reports. Equally, we also do have a lot of partners that are looking at ways to help provide sustainability, for example, renewables technology. So we do work in the renewables industry space as well. So we do have a range of battery connections, solar PV, string combiner boxes that help grow that as well. So we are hoping to try and grow more as well in developing that world.
Thanks so much. Next question. I'm really interested in what's coming down the pipeline. What are the current trends in data center power consumption influencing the development of circuit breakers and power supplies?
Yeah, I think so. More and more now, circuit breakers becoming more smarter and more intelligent. So you can see there from our power supply solutions, we have an integrated circuit breaker protection. So all of those types of requirements allow operators to actually remotely reset those circuit breakers and actually carry out analysis on when that had happened, for example, in notifications. So rather than something just actually going down and an engineer having to go into that panel, there's actually remote communication from the controller to look, see and realize that something's happened.
Thank you. And how does Phoenix Contact address redundancy in the controllers you have?
Yeah, so a couple of ways. One of them is media redundancy. So earlier, the IRC 2050, I mentioned about the RSTP. So the Rapid Spanning Tree Protocol is actually a network ring media redundancy. And for example, you can set up an RSTP ring, and where traffic is severed from one connection, the controller can pick up that and reroute traffic the other way. Another aspect of redundancy is obviously controller redundancy. So with the controller being Niagara based, a lot of our operators are using a primary and a secondary BMS panel, where you've got two controllers that kind of connect to each other and talk to each other through contactors, and actually using that. So if the primary panel was to go down, the secondary controller can take over command. There's a good level of requirement. So it's providing and keeping that uptime for the data halls.
Brilliant. Thanks, Deepan. And just one more question before I let you up. What are the main benefits of having the high I/O module count in BMS for data centers?
The high I/O count offers flexibility and scalability in terms of your design, right? So no matter how high that account might end up being, it will provide a very compact panel for that high I/O count. So typically, a lot of BMS controllers require a lot of space in those BMS panels. With our controller, because of its compact design and scalable solution, the operators can still meet that demand in compact size but high I/O count in terms of its density.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, Deepan. Have a lovely day today.
Thank you very much. You too. Thanks.
Thank you.